I discovered a whole nother part of your fucking brain that a lot of people don't even know about. It's my job by being on this journey and being the discovery person and being the person that maybe I didn't discover this part. I discovered a very important part that I haven't met many people that have discovered this part. I'm sure there's a lot out there, but it's my job now to take these weak people in the category that I was in and say, stop reading the bullshit. Stop listening to the bullshit. And if my story of success can impact somebody, it is my job, it's my duty to share the story. As much as I'm not really fond of it, I'm the kind of guy that wants to sit in the fucking room and just be me. Just be me, alone, by myself. It's who I am. But I have to get uncomfortable and tell people all this shit. You think it feels good telling people I had a fourth grade reading level in high school? I stuttered. I lied to people to be their fucking friends. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good at all. But maybe someone's doing the same shit. And maybe they can realize, wow, that motherfucker was a piece of shit. And he now is a Navy SEAL, retired guy, and runs these miles and was 297 pounds and pathetic fucker. And wow. And people say, why are you talking so? It's the fucking truth. I was a fucking pathetic motherfucker, man. People cannot say that to themselves. We have to choose these great fucking magical words that make people feel good. Tell yourself the truth. If someone calls you fucking fat, they may be bullying you, but you might be fucking fat. Someone calls you dumb, it's mean, but you might be fucking dumb. It's life, man. Take it for what it's worth and change it.
Never waste a fucking thing. It was a lesson I first learned in Brazil, Indiana, when a classmate brought me a gift after school. I didn't get a lot of presents growing up, so when he handed me that one, I was a thirsty little motherfucker. I wanted to tear that bitch open and see what I got. The first loud rip got my grandfather's attention. He poked his head into the room and surveyed the scene. "Calm down," he said. Then he handed me a pair of scissors. That's good wrapping paper. "We can reuse that." A lot of us grew up with grandparents seasoned by the Great Depression, who knew we were working with finite resources. Even those who made a nice living didn't take comfort or plenty for granted. And I guess that rubbed off on me. To this day, I abhor waste. I eat all my leftovers, and when my tube of toothpaste flattens out, I don't just roll it up to squeeze out the remainder. I cut that bitch open and put it in a Ziploc baggie until I've used every last drop. Everything must be utilized, especially the energy and volatile, potentially damaging emotions like fear and hate. You have to learn how to handle them, how to mind them. And once you master that craft, any negative emotion or event that bubbles up in your brain or gets lobbed your way like a grenade can be used as fuel to make you better. But to get there, you must literally listen to yourself. In 2009, I was training to ride in a 3,000-mile cycling race called the Race Across America, better known as RAM. I was still full-time in the military, so I had to wake up extra early to fit in my 50 to 100-mile rides before work. My weekend training rides stretched out over 200 miles. Sometimes I rode upwards of 500 miles, often on the narrow shoulders of busy highways. I did all that because the Ram's distance scared me. The monotony of being able to stay locked in on a bicycle for days at a time without sleep freaked me the fuck out. The race burrowed so deep into my psyche that I wasn't sleeping well. To demystify the experience, I made a point of chronicling each ride on a handheld tape recorder. I described everything I saw and felt in granular detail. It was mostly just me on a bike with cars, Harleys, and semis zooming past. I smelled all the exhaust, felt the wind slap me upside the head, and tasted the grit of the open road. When I veered onto the blue roads, I wouldn't see a single car for 50 miles, but that white line was ever present, whether the shoulder was wide, thin, or non-existent. The white line was always there. I listened to those tapes at night and visualized the white line 1,000 times. I became entranced by the simplicity of it, which helped minimize everything else about the race. And though I didn't enter RAM that year, because of emergency heart surgery, I knew I'd stumbled onto a system to minimize my fears and build confidence that I'd use for years to come. I can't possibly fathom the hours spent alone riding the white line. When I started speaking to Fortune 500 companies and professional ball clubs for a living, I had to be willing to reveal my f***ed-up life story to successful people, including millionaires and billionaires who had heard it all. This wasn't some simple recruiting trip to a high school where students were easily impressed, and all my anxiety around public speaking resurfaced. Once again, I broke out the tape recorder. I spoke my fears and my trauma, which not that many people knew about, into that microphone and discovered a strange, unexpected alchemy. My fear and trauma were transformed into energy and confidence. Many people write out their darkest moments in a journal or diary and hope to gain some leverage on whatever it is they survived or are struggling to overcome. I've kept a journal for years, but there are levels to this shit, and a written archive is the entry level. Audio recordings are more interactive and accessible and have a more profound effect on the mind. If you were bullied, abused, or sexually assaulted and are willing to speak the unfiltered truth into the microphone and listen to it over and over after a period of time, it will become just another story. A powerful story, for sure, but the poison will be neutralized and the power will be yours. This is not a task to take lightly. If you've survived acute trauma, you don't want to think about what you were doing on the day it happened, what you heard and how you felt, or how your life capsized afterward. Do it anyway. The more color and context you can add to the track, the sooner you will walk the streets with your headphones on and your head held high. When people see you coming, they might think you're listening to an Eminem jam. But no, it's your deepest trauma, the scene of your supposed destruction, on repeat. With each subsequent listen, you will claim more and more power and gain enough transformational energy to change your life. Most people don't even want to think about their darkest shit, much less talk about it. They refuse to speculate in the harsh wilderness of their past because they are afraid of exposure. Believe me, there's gold in them there hills. I know, because I was the black dude in the cowboy hat, hip deep in the icy stream panning for nuggets. And if you find the courage to paint the picture of your worst nightmare in the spoken word, then listen to it until it soaks in and saturates your mind, until you can hear it without any emotional reaction or spillover. It will no longer make you cower or cry. It will make you strong. Recording yourself isn't just a reliable tool for neutralizing trauma. It can change the dynamic of almost any situation or mood. If you use it properly, it can also keep you honest. One day, a couple of years ago, not long after ramping up my training from 10 miles of running per day to 20 or more, I felt drained and sore, too tired to run, and kept telling myself that I needed a day off. As I relaxed on the couch, I tuned into my self-talk. Then I grabbed my recorder and whined into the microphone. I wanted to hear how it sounded out loud. I was real with myself. I cataloged my recent runs and nagging injuries and described how I thought a day off might help me. I made a solid case for a much-needed rest day. But when I played it back, the jury of one was unconvinced. Many people wake up with dread or doubt day after day. They dread their workouts, their class load, or their job. Maybe they have a test or presentation that makes them nervous, or they know that the day's workout will hurt. While they linger in bed, they tune into their soft, forgiving self-talk, which doesn't make it any easier to get up and moving. Most people rise up eventually, but they remain in a daze for hours because they aren't fully engaged with their lives. Their self-talk has made them numb to the moment, and they sleepwalk through half the day before they finally perk the fuck up. The way we speak to ourselves in moments of doubt is crucial, whether or not the stakes are high, because our words become actions, and our actions build habits that can coat our minds and bodies with the plaque of ambivalence, hesitancy, and passivity, and separate us from our own lives. If any of this sounds familiar, grab your phone and record your inner dialogue as soon as you wake up. Don't hold back. Spill all your dread, laziness, and stress into the mic. Now listen to it. 9 times out of 10, you won't like what you hear. It will make you cringe. You wouldn't want your girlfriend or boyfriend, your boss, or your kids to hear your unfiltered weakness. But you should, because then you can repurpose it. You can use it to remind yourself that changes must be made. Listening might inspire you to commit to your life in a deeper way, to be your best at work, at school, or in the gym. It can challenge you to rewrite the narrative so that when you bed down, you won't feel like you wasted another valuable day. Do it again the next morning. But this time, once you get through listening to all your whining about the shit you don't want to do, sit up in bed and lay down a second take. Pretend you're motivating a friend or loved one who is going through challenges. Be respectful of the issues they face, but be positive, forceful, and realistic too. This is a skill that demands repetition, and if you do it regularly, you'll find that it won't take long for your self-talk to flip from doubt and dread to optimism and empowerment. The conditions of your life might not change a whole lot at first, but your words will make sure that your approach does change, and that will eventually enable you to shift everything. But you must speak the truth and be willing to listen to it. Don't be afraid of your weakness or doubt. Don't be embarrassed and pretend it doesn't exist. It surfaced for a reason, so use it to flip the dynamic of your life. Lately, I've used this technique with the hate that comes at me online. Most people in my position don't read negative comments or emails. They have someone else screen and then erase them. I see hate as just another fuel source. I see the beauty and power in it, and I never let it go to waste. When the negative comments come in, and they always do, I capture them in a screenshot and speak them into my microphone. In 2021, I posted an image of my swollen left knee, which inspired a flood of negative comments. Some claimed to have seen my breakdown coming and counted it as a personal win. Others simply liked seeing me in pain. "I'm tired of hearing you run your fucking mouth," one of them wrote. "I hope I never see your black ass run again," wrote another. They were trying to salt my wounds. They wanted me to feel the sting, which I did, and hoped it would bring me down even further. It didn't. I loved those comments. I loved them so much I made a mixtape. I printed them all out, recorded myself saying each one, and then I looped that bitch. Whenever I have a bad day, I listen to it. Sometimes I walk around the house savoring it in full stereo. Most people only mind the positive shit. They want everything and everyone to be nice and hunky-dory. They get filled up on sweetness and recoil from the dark, bitter pill of hate. But there's not nearly as much fuel in ass-kissing attaboys and accolades as there is in hate. Luckily, the world is filled with jealous, insecure haters. If you don't get negative comments on social media, find your fuel in the thoughtless comment of a friend or the doubt of a teacher or coach. I'm sure it stings when you feel slighted, underestimated, criticized, or excluded. Just know that the heat you feel is free energy waiting to be burned. Don't crawl up in a corner worried about the people who disrespect you. Repackage what you're hearing and feeling until it works for you. That is a winner's mentality. Winners in life see everything they experience and everything they hear, see and feel as pure energy. They train their minds to find it. They drop into the gnarly crevices to mine golden nuggets of trauma, doubt, and hate. They do not live disposable, single-use lives. They discard nothing and refurbish everything. They find strength in the bullying and heartbreak, in their defeats and failures. They harvest it from the people who hate them personally and from the online trolls too. Some people go to sleep with a meditation app. Others open the windows to the night sounds or stream white noise, whale songs, or the lullaby of the sea lapping some lonely shore. When I bed down at night, I listen to my haters. And it's obvious those punk ass bitches don't have the slightest idea who they are dealing with. I'm the person who turns their every negative word into my positive progress. I take what they serve me, roll it up in that wrapping paper I saved way back when, and shove it right up their fucking asses in the form of another workout, another long run, and another year of leveling the fuck up. Honestly, I should thank them. They make me stronger and more determined to achieve my goals, which only makes them hate me even more. It's time to make your own mixtape.